All right, so we're getting to the point now where it's time to start stripping this topsoil by the gas meter and unexcavate this side. And we're starting to be a little concerned because, as you can see, the gas meter's still here. Gas has not been shut off, and we don't want to have an accident. So my brother right now is actually on the phone with the gas company to see if they can come out to send somebody out to shut it off today, right now, because the last thing we want to do is to hit it and cause damage and somebody could get hurt. All right, so hopefully they get here. We'll see what happens. All right, so if you didn't watch the previous video in this series, you can go back and rewatch that one, but we did take out a lot of the concrete that was around the house, along with a small retaining wall in the front, and we did take away some of the sod on the right-hand side of the house where it runs up against the neighbor's property. What we did there is we did draw a line in paint just so we know where the property line was, and so we didn't want to interrupt the neighbor's property and destroy it. So we drew a line and then we peeled it back. We used the mini excavator to pull up the topsoil and pushed it onto the tractor and made a pretty good clean line of what we did. Now, in this section, we are taking up the topsoil in this area because if you take a look at the retaining wall that's in the back, it's in the plans right now that 13 feet from the left-hand side, that retaining wall is supposed to come out and then fix the retaining wall so it returns back to the street. And that's where we're going to have a new entrance into the back area here with the mini excavator's clearing, because there's going to be parking for 2 or 3 cars in that space. So that's why the topsoil is coming out there. And over on the left-hand side where the tractor is, there's going to be about a 6-foot turnaround so you can pull in into this space and then back up. So you're backing up against the house around the corner and then move straight up and drive out of the property. So that's why we're peeling up all this topsoil. Now the topsoil that's going up the hill there in front of the retaining wall, that's going to get stripped off at another point because we're probably going to have to put in another retaining wall there in order for that to allow us to have parking for 3 cars back there. Now you're probably wondering why we're peeling up the topsoil without the gas being cleared or marked for us. Well, that's the reason is because a month ago we contacted Dig Safely New York, and they came out and staked out and said, "Oh, there's no electric or anything in the area where we're going, but there's definitely a gas line there," and they weren't going to mark that one, so the fuel company had to come out and do that. And a month ago, they said, "Oh, yeah, we'll get on it," and they never really did it. And so finally, we're just going to hope for the best and see how we do. Now, long story short on that is, an hour from now, they did show up, and they did literally turn off the gas at the street. So it didn't matter if we ripped it up, but we didn't. But anyway, that's where that sits. Now, if you're looking at it and you're a mini excavator operator, you're probably wondering why I'm peeling back the topsoil and loading it into a tractor as opposed to just peeling it back into a big pile and then moving it from the pile onto the tractor. That was originally our plan, but I realized as we're going like this that I can get a smaller pile. So if I'm loading it on as we go, and I'm not really wasting much time because I'm not really waiting for him. Right now I'm just peeling it back a little bit into a bigger pile while he's coming over. So it actually worked out to our favor in doing it the way that we did. Occasionally we found a big rock, so we loaded that up and put it into our big rock pile. All right, so there were 2 trees on the property. One was, I believe, a poplar tree, which is this one, and then there was a big black walnut tree that we took down. On my channel, there's a video that shows you of us cutting that log, the black walnut log, into hardwoods that we're going to actually use in the house here. But this stump had to come out because this is an area where the front patio is going to be. And so, believe it or not, it's a pretty good size stump, and it did take quite a bit of effort to get this out. From me doing this in the past, I realized you have to dig around the stump, get as many of the roots that are coming up towards the top and just dig around it all the way around, and do the best you can. I do have to admit this was one of the bigger stumps that I've ever taken out, and it did test the Mini to its max, but it did take us a little bit of time, about an hour, and we got this out. So after taking a couple stumps out, I've realized that the positioning of the mini excavator is key to your success. As long as you have a smaller excavator like this, the bigger the excavator, of course, the farther away you can be from it, because you can just usually just rip it out of the ground. But with these mini excavators, this one weighs about 9,000 pounds. You have to get the Mini as close as you can to the place where you're digging. That gives you a little bit more up pressure and pulling it out. And the strongest part about the excavator is the curling factor of the bucket. That's where you're going to get most of your power. So if I were to pull this stump out again, I would have moved the mini excavator so that the blade was, I don't know, maybe about a foot behind where the stump starts, and then really dove into it and used that weight of the tractor and the less of an angle to get that to come out. But you also have to make sure you do all the way around. And so I'm struggling a little bit with this because it has a lot of stump, or a lot of roots that go out and about. But slow and steady finishes the race, I'm told. And this one did take a little over an hour to get out, about that. But the next one here, which is the black walnut tree, that was a little bit more difficult. It took us about 2 hours to get that one out. But we did learn from our mistakes on this one. Right now we're digging it out. You're going to find that the more soil you take out from in front by where your blade is, the more difficult it is for you to be able to lift this thing out of the hole. So depending upon how big the stump is, depends on how much dirt you have to pull out around. Now this one has a pretty good sized taproot to it, so it's going to take a little bit of time to get this thing to peel up. I still have to do the lake side of the stump. Again, just trying to peel away from the roots that are close to the top. All right, so here I'm trying to hog away a little bit more dirt to expose some more of those roots that I could get out. Now we're moving towards the excavator side of it to get this to pull out. It's going to take a little bit of effort because normally what happens if you're trying to take a stump out, if you cut it down, you want to leave a little bit more of the top there, so you have a little bit more of a lever arm to help rip that thing out of the ground. We did just cut this one into firewood. It didn't have much value to it other than for firewood, but we didn't leave enough stump that we could actually pull it out. All right. So now at this point in time, we've worked at it for a little bit, and as you can see, it's starting to move. That was an exciting moment because we realized that it's almost there. Now, instead of pulling it at the top, I probably should have reached down underneath it and trying to pull it up and move the excavator a little bit more closer to it and get that blade down in the hole. But I realized that it was starting to go, and it finally pops free. Now, one of the things you'll realize about taking a stump out, as soon as you get into a bigger size stump, is that there's a lot of dirt that's on the bottom of that. And so at this point in time, I'm spinning it around so I can get to that bottom, and slow and steadily, I'm just going to peel the dirt off of it so it's easier to pull it out of the hole. And also it's going to give you the ability to haul more stumps in a trailer because there's less dirt associated with it. And it does give you a little bit of a fight because it's rolling around. Now, as you're moving that dirt, all that little tiny piles of dirt that comes off, there's 5, 10 pounds, 2 pounds. Every little bit of ounce helps when it comes to it. Now, if I had a bigger excavator with this, I could literally pick it up and then drop it and let the dirt fall off of it. But this excavator won't pull that or lift that up. You'll see here, once I get it out of the hole, it takes a lot of the excavator plus the blade to drag it to where I have to get it to go. But there I've got quite a bit of the dirt off of it, so it's a little bit more manageable. Now it's time to peel it out of the hole. You have to be careful because I'd hate to have that thing roll down into the lake and have to deal with it getting out of the lake, so you have to be careful. And once I get to that point, it's not going to roll anywhere, and so I can just try and get it to be picked up. The one good thing about working at the lake is there's always a beautiful view to look at. But anyway, I couldn't pick this up with just the bucket itself. I probably could have, but it was too big for it. Size-wise, weight-wise, it did it. But now I use the blade of the excavator to help hold it in air so I didn't easily drag it back to where we're going to store this. At some point, we'll have to load it onto the mini excavator's trailer, which is a dump trailer, and take it to a place where we can dig another hole and bury it or get it burned someplace. But the next stump that we had to take out is the black walnut, which is the one that's right there. I'm just peeling some of the topsoil away from it. This was pretty much a challenge. It took a lot longer than the first one, about an extra half hour, 45 minutes, because the black walnut had a lot more roots that went deeper into the ground. And as you can see from the hole that we have there, it's about as big as the hole the one was by the lake. And this one was a lot more challenging. But we finally got it and got it peeled up. All right, thanks for watching another Design, Build, and Fix video. Up next is the unexcavation of the house. If you liked the video, make sure you click the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and of course, leave a comment. All right, we'll see you on the next one.